Not to play on.
Okay. What's up, man? You're muted.
Yeah, how you
Oh, there you
doing?
go. Good. How are you?
Oh, life's crazy. Life's crazy.
Are we live on Facebook or how's this going?
No, it's gonna be recorded here. I take the link. I don't know where the link from our last call went. I said do it to the cloud and I couldn't find it in the cloud. So we're gonna have to do that again. I've
Oh,
got two
okay.
people jumping in. I had three of the girls that were on it that are all at a happy hour right now. So poor time
Oh,
for when I scheduled it. I've got two people waiting in the room right now, which could be really great. They'll get a
yeah.
really intimate experience with you. Um, and so I think they're in my inner circle anyway. So I think just allowing you to showcase your skill set with them. Cindy is one of them. She is one of my mom's best friend, high level executive at Amazon. Or for the time being, I think touch the subject, Kelly, on that one because Amazon's corporate and they went through cuts. Um, and so she loved the mindset stuff last time. And so she is really open-minded to kind of hearing what you're doing. But I'm gonna let them in now. I'll kind of
Okay.
introduce us, introduce you, and then we'll rock and roll.
Sounds good.
All right. Welcome to Winning Wednesdays. Now, you might be wondering, why do we call this Winning Wednesday? Well, let me break this down for you. I've got a special guest here today, and this is Charlie Ray. Charlie Ray is one of the best. He doesn't like to be called mindset coach because he is so much more than that, but he is one of the top mind coaches that I've ever met. And he has some incredible strategies that we're going to walk you through today, mostly talking about how to use your mind to not only reach your health and fitness goals, but to reach every goal that you have in your entire life. And if you guys know, as you know, I'm Coach Nick here. I've been a health and wellness coach for over 10 years, and I absolutely love what I do, but I also know that I don't know what I don't know. And that's why I bring in professionals like Charlie. So if you'd like to jump in and introduce yourself, Charlie, we'd love to hear all about you.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's very interesting how we process information and how this information goes back to a lot of it based on my experience goes back to childhood. And sometimes you don't even realize at the point of really these little micro, I call them like these micro traumas that happen to us, right? And so they kind of formulate who we are. And how I got into all of this goes back to 2010. And I share this story all the time because it's so impactful to know, like, why are you doing what you're doing? Why, you've worked with me, you've done stuff with me, and you've seen the results so impactful. But if you look at kind of how life forms back in 2010, my 14-year-old son was misdiagnosed with depression. They ended up putting him on Zoloft and he ended his life. He committed suicide at 14 years old. And so he was in life support for about 3 days, and there was literally nothing that we could do to save his life. So this took me on this journey, and I don't look at this and tell this story for sympathy, but this story impacted my journey on really how can I change people's lives without medication, not saying medication is bad, but without medication and very, very, very quickly. So I started talking to all these experts and started learning all these different modalities and started realizing like basically how we process information at such a small level goes back to all these belief systems that were programmed into us at a really young age. And so if we look at this and go back from our third trimester to 7 years old, we're in this conscious state of mind. We're at the mind where we're learning everything, that we're programming all these things. So if you think about how we learn how to tie our shoes, how we walk, how we drive a car, go back to those days. Go back and think about those moments where you started to do that. And like, okay, I had to remember to look up in the mirror. I had to remember to turn the blinker on. I had to remember to, you know, look over my shoulder when I turn. You don't do that anymore. It's programmed into you. So if you think about all the things in your life that happens, a lot of these beliefs, these habits are formulated based on programming. And so after that set years of 7 years of age, we get into that, what they call a subconscious mind, but it's really not our subconscious. If you think about where our information is stored in the hippocampus, that's where we store these memories. So when you look at, hey, I'm trying to exercise, I'm trying to diet, I'm trying to eat right. Why can't I lose weight? Why can't I not eat these bad foods? Why do I go to certain things in my life? Why do I eat what I eat when there's an emotional reaction to a situation? Well, there's 4 parts of the brain that get affected by that. And so if you look at that, we have the amygdala, which regulates our fight or flight. So we have a situation now, the process of fight or flight actually is a system that works, but your fight or flight, Nick, is different than what mine may be.
Yeah.
Right? You might have got stung by a bee at a really young age and then petrified of bees because you associated that sting to a painful event. So you're afraid of them. Now, maybe if you got stung again as you were older and like, oh, you know what? That's really not that bad. Why was I afraid of them the whole time? You see how the fight or flight changes based on situations that happen to you. But if we go back to the whole thing with nutrition, I used to weigh 355 pounds. I was extremely overweight. I was eating 2 dinners a day because when I was in a bad relationship, I sat there and I associated pain and wanting to get out of pain to eating a lot of food because that was my comfort for me, right? And realizing this whole time that my fight or flight of get out of a situation is to eat rather than realizing that there's so many other things I could be doing. Right. So that part of that fight or flight with the amygdala is what happens to us. But we also look at how we store memories. So associations that we make at a young age, or even after that, these associations, these micro traumas, these micro programs that are made into us get stored in the hippocampus. And so when that gets affected in a negative way, we start to do things that way our storage happens becomes basically, I'm trying to put this in certain terms without getting too technical, but it comes into a way where when we store information, it's distorted based on associations that we make at a young age. So
And
that's
it's
another
crazy.
part.
It's crazy. Sorry to interrupt you, but it's crazy because a lot of times we can't even put our finger on what trauma causes us to act in a certain way.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what your process is so powerful about, is because you walk them through a journey of trying to pinpoint where where they're struggling with the most, like the thing they're struggling with the most, where the root is of that.
Mm-hmm.
And then pulling the weed, right? Like, and it's like I always say the mind's like a garden, right? And if you don't
Yeah.
pull the weeds, then the good crops won't grow. So can you tell us a little bit about that and how we're able to really put our finger on the moment, but then also associate that with the behavior that's holding us back?
So let's look at that. Let's walk through this situation. You talked about some of the struggles that you've went through. So let's walk through it right now. What's the biggest struggle that you struggle with right now?
Let's grab one of these ladies.
Yeah,
Cindy or
let's do it.
Lisa, do either one of you want to volunteer to jump in and go through a little sample session with Coach Charlie here? See if they jump in. If not, in the next couple seconds, you can take me through the process.
I was just trying to figure out how to get off mute.
Ah, there we go. I knew Cindy would would jump in. All right, Cindy, so we're gonna give you a personal experience with Coach Charlie here, and he's gonna walk you through what he calls his 15-minute neural remapping. Is that correct, Charlie?
It's a 15-minute shift. So 15 minutes, and Lisa, you can take notes on this too if you don't want to come out with this. So I'm going to bring you Cindy through the process, and we'll actually go through it. And Nick, I want you to go through it too. So I want you guys to kind of figure out what is the biggest struggle that you're dealing with. And Cindy, I'll take you through it, but I want everyone else to think about this too. So Cindy, what's the biggest struggle that you're dealing with?
So my biggest struggle, I have a real problem with, no matter how healthy I eat, no matter how much I work out, I can't say no to sugary snacks. If they're in my house, I will gorge myself on them.
Okay.
I mean, I will literally eat an entire pack of Oreos in like 20 minutes.
Okay.
And I don't know why. I tell myself I'm going to eat one and I eat them all.
So, do you have any associations with sugary snacks at a young age that brought you pleasure? That was, I mean, and a lot of this goes back to mom and dad, like how we're raised. Not saying that mom and dad were bad, but there were probably a moment that happened to us where it's like, oh, if I did something wrong or something happened, you'd revert back to a sugary snack. Is any of that come about for you at all? Does that make sense?
Um, the only thing at a young age that I remember is my dad used to take me to town and get me, we would split a Coke and a Three Musketeer bar, and that was like a super treat for us. And he and my mom got divorced when I was 6.
Okay.
So that ended, but that was like it was positive that we would go and have this like super awesome time and sit on the stoop of the grocery store and share a bottle of Coca-Cola, and then would split Three Musketeer bars, which I don't even like Three Musketeer bars anymore, but
Okay.
everything else I love.
Yeah. So looking at that scenario, did that stop after the divorce?
Oh yes, everything
Okay.
stopped. He went away.
Okay.
He was gone for years after the divorce. For like 10 years, I didn't see him again.
So what was your relationship with sugary snacks after that divorce with him disappearing?
That's interesting because I never really thought about that. I always kind of treasured that memory of me and my
Mhm.
dad sharing that, but
So the
I
memory of you and your father having those treats was so powerful and good. Now that he's gone, that's that pain point of him not being in your life. Subconsciously, there might be something there when you have that sugary snack that brings you back to that memory, but it's programmed into you that okay, if I'm going to eat this, it brings me to a good place because that was a good memory
yeah,
for you. So every time you eat a sugary snack, you're subconsciously going back to that moment, and you probably find yourself thinking about that moment when you're doing that, don't you?
I do. I think
Okay.
about that moment all the time.
So
Okay.
what is your relationship with sweets after your dad left as like you're in your adolescent to your teenage years?
I was I would binge. I would buy like a pound of M&Ms and I could eat them all. But I was always super thin when I was young, and I
Mhm.
had a really high metabolism. So it didn't, I ran, I played field hockey, I was a cheerleader. So it didn't really affect me. But then as I grew older, and I've never been able to shake that habit of if I can't have just one.
Okay. So let me ask you this. Is the sugary snacks causing any health problems for you?
Oh, you mean like my diabetes and
Sure.
my,
Okay,
yeah,
perfect. Okay.
yeah.
There you go. So what we're going to do is I'm going to kind of reverse engineer this and do this a different way. So by you eating these sugary snacks, what would be the most painful thing outcome for you by eating this?
By me eating them, the most
By
painful
eating them,
outcome,
what's the
yeah,
pain?
I'll get worse. And
Worst case scenario long term, what's the like most like the worst case scenario of you
Mhm.
continuing to like eat sugary sweets in excess?
my health is just going to continue to deteriorate, and everything that I love in my life will be lost to me.
What's your love
It's
in your life?
my grandchildren.
Okay.
I'm
So
the fun grandparent. I have to be fun. I have to be able to be active and fun with them. And if my diabetes progress and I end up with neuropathy or losing a limb, all that it'll completely change my life.
let's go to worst case scenario. You pass away, you die.
I didn't want to go that bad, but yeah,
Yeah.
that would be the
Well,
absolute worst case.
I want to go that deep because we're going to reverse that. Okay. So we're going to go reverse that and have that new association of every time you avoid eating a sugary snack, the empowerment and the love that you have for your grandkids and the fun that you have with them. So we're going to take sugary snacks does not equal fun with your grandkids because then you're not going to be able to have that. You're not going to be the fun grandmother. You're not going to be that anymore. So the more you indulge in the sugary snacks, the more painful we want to associate with that event of, you get where I'm going with this?
I do.
Okay. So what we're going to do is I want to do a process. So what would be the new empowering belief by avoiding sugary snacks?
Or like maybe not avoiding because you enjoy them, but minimizing, like eating with.
Let's just cut them out completely.
Oh shit, he's going for blood. Is that something
Yeah,
you're willing
let's
to
just,
do, Cindy?
I would love to cut them out completely.
okay.
Oh, there you go. Oh,
So by the association of you cutting out those snacks, the new empowering belief would be by cutting out those sugary snacks, that relationship with your grandkids, that's where the love comes from. So we want to
Yeah.
take that new empowering feeling every time you avoid a sugary snack, the power of that love of doing more things with your grandkids, the longer you're going to be able to do them, that's going to feel, you know what that feels like to be with your kids, your
Oh,
grandkids?
yeah, I
You love that
absolutely do.
feeling.
And I love the feeling. I would love, like my 3-year-old granddaughter, my youngest, I would love to dance at her wedding and just be doing the twist, in 20, 30 years from now. And yeah, I would love that.
Okay. So the new empowering belief is by avoiding sugary snacks, your health is going to get better. That's the new empowering belief. And the new emotion that you want to have is essentially that new emotion, that new empowering feeling is that feeling with your grandkids, that feeling of dancing at their wedding and being that fun grandmother. That's the new empowering feeling. Okay.
Okay.
So what we're going to do is a process where we're just going to kind of release the emotions around that going back to your father and the divorce. We're going to release that and let that go. So your first thing is remembering when you got told the divorce. Do you remember that? That probably affected you pretty bad.
Oh, I remember it very
Okay.
clearly.
That's the memory we're going to go back to. Then we're going to go back to that memory. And so what you're going to do is you're going to close your eyes in just a second here. I'm going to have you imagine yourself floating up above yourself. You'll see yourself down below. And then we're going to fade everything out. And then we're going to have that memory pop up. That memory is going to pop up. And what you're, and the whole time is I'm going to be pushing energy into you as well. Okay, so you're going to be feeling energy pushed into you, but we're going to go back to that moment. We're going to release the emotions and empower that new feeling, which is being that empowerment with your grandkids and letting go of those sugary snacks. So I've never done this process before the way I'm doing it. And so it's so cool when I get to do stuff like this because now we get to see the results from it, from you avoiding it. And if this doesn't work as much, what we can do, there's a like and dislike where I can make anything that's sweet taste like the worst thing in the world to you. So you never want to eat it again. And we'll do that if this doesn't work on a different moment. But let's go into this. So I want you to just
Okay.
kind of close your eyes and just
Okay.
kind of focus in on your breath, in through your nose and out through your mouth. And just kind of relax. Just go deeper and deeper with each breath, feeling more and more relaxed. Just letting go of all the negative energy for the day. Anything that's happening in your life, just let it all go. Just going deeper and deeper, feeling more and more relaxed. I'm going to count backwards from 10 all the way to 1. In each number, you're going to go deeper and deeper within yourself. 10, 9, 8, going deeper and deeper. 7, 6, 5, going deeper and deeper within. 4, 3, 2, 1. Just feeling totally relaxed, knowing that each and every day you're getting better and better. Each and every way you feel better and better. I want you to imagine yourself floating up above yourself, way, way up above, seeing yourself sitting where you are right now. Just kind of let me know when you get there.
I can see it.
Okay. I want you to fade everything out to black. And I want you to pop up that a moment with that divorce. Pop that up. See it happening down below you. And all the things that happened to you in that moment, I want you to think of that new empowering belief by letting go of those sugary snacks, letting them go. The love and the emotion that you get to feel with your grandkids. I want you to take that new belief by letting that go and the new emotion that you have, that you can feel for that love that you have with your grandkids. And I want you to lock that in to your subconscious mind. Anytime you need it, it's there. Just lock it in. Feel that feeling now throughout your whole body. That love, the ability to be with them. Lock that in. I want you to start to float a little bit in front of the event. You're still up above it, but you're looking down at an angle from the event. And as you look down at an angle, I want you to take note of the emotions that you felt from that moment. Think of all the emotions that you felt from that moment. Maybe some frustration, sadness, anger, confusion, whatever you're feeling, just take note of them now. And I want you to float down in to the event so you see it happening through your own eyes. I want you to see what you saw, felt what you felt, and heard what you heard. And as you see, feel, and hear everything going on around you, I want you to take note if the emotions are still there, if they're gone, or if they've lessened. Now, just easily and effortlessly, I want you to start to float back up above the event, letting go of all the emotions from that event. Remember that new empowering belief. That new empowering belief that you stay away from all those sugars, all those candies, all those treats. That love and that emotion from your grandkids is there, the longevity that you have. Lock that into your subconscious mind. Anytime you need it, it's there. That's the new belief. That's the new feeling. Just lock it in. Now, we always connect it with an energy connection. I want you to cut that energy connection from that event, and I want you to fade everything out to black. Fade it all out to black. Now, I want you to think of two other memories that were similar to that memory. Two other memories that were similar. And I want you to start to float over that next memory. See it happening down below you, floating over it, and just letting go of the emotions from that event. Let them go. They do not serve you. They have no power over you. Remember that new empowering feeling that you have right now inside yourself. Every time you avoid that sugary treats, every time you avoid that stuff that's not serving you, has no purpose in your life, but you avoid it. And guess what? That longevity with your grandkids, that love, that fun that you get to have with them gets to go longer and longer and longer. Feel that emotion now. Lock that in. And as you let go of that last event, I want you to cut that energy connection from that event and fade everything out to white. Now I want you to see that last event down below you. See that last event down below you. And just let go of the emotions. Just easily and effortlessly let them all go. They do not serve you. They have no purpose over you. You have that new empowering lesson, that strength that you don't need any sugary treats. Because that love and that emotion that you have with your grandkids, that's what's locked in. That's what matters. Feel that feeling now throughout your whole body. Every time you avoid that sugary treat, that love, that passion, that excitement with your grandkids becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. Lock that in. Lock it in now. Now I want you to cut that energy connection from that last event. And I want you to fade everything out to black. Now I want you to see yourself down below you sitting in the room that you're in right now. And feel this white light of energy going up and up and up, connecting you from up above, feeling that love, that peace, that excitement that you have. The feeling you feel that when you're with your grandkids. And that feeling you can only get by avoiding that sugary treats to make it longer and longer and longer and feel that feeling inside yourself. And this white light is surrounding you. It's starting to pull you back down into your body. Feel that peace, that calm as it pulls you back down to your body. And in the count of 3, you're going to open your eyes. And in that count of 3, when you open your eyes, that sugary treats do not exist for you anymore. You're letting them all go. Because you're going to feel that feeling, that excitement that you have. 1, feeling more and more empowered, feeling that white light around you, feeling that love that you have. 2, feeling more and more empowered. And 3, when you're ready, you can open your eyes. How are you feeling?
Wow. Actually very calm and peaceful.
Do you feel lighter?
Yeah.
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 I will challenge you to go to your kitchen tonight, if you feel up to it, and take those sugary treats and feel the excitement of dumping them in the garbage. Feel the love and the peace that you have with your grandkids. That while you doing that, it's going to empower you.
I'll happily do that. I have so much crap in this house. I have so much good stuff, but
And
there's
you know what?
some.
And with Nick's help, that's the thing about this. He can help you, go through that cleanse of that sugar and get it out of your system. Like I remember when I gave up soda, it's like I drink coffee, tea, and water, and that's it. I don't drink soda. I don't drink alcohol. I drink nothing. And I don't miss any of it. I don't have any cravings for it. Once you get past that with Nick's help, and this newfound feeling that you have, this is going to empower you to whole new levels. And this system that we do can work even in anything, your personal life, your business life, speaking on stage, confidence, all of this stuff. That's why the name Rise Up in every area of your life. And that's why I chose to partner with Nick, because that's what his mission is. I want to be around people that are going to do that stuff. And I want people to live their best life. And I do that to honor my son because of what happened to him, because I know everyone. And to me, this is so easy to do. This is so easy to do this. So the more people I get to impact, that's my power. That's why I do what I do.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
But Charlie, I did see you were above me in the leaderboard today, and this isn't changing anything. I'm taking you down.
Good. I love it. Nick, you're on mute. You're on mute.
Oh,
Nick.
my bad.
Hey.
So in the challenge, she saw the leaderboard and she's like, "Oh, it's about to go down." She put a post in it, and it was funny. The competitive spirit in everybody's coming out. I got a couple people that
Love
text
it.
me too, and they're like, "Oh, it's about to go down." But I wanted to kind of put a bow on this too, because one of the people that kind of changed my mindset is a guy named Dr. Joe Dispenza. He talks about how your personality, or your personality makes up your personal reality, and your personality is made up of how you think, act, and feel. And the process that Charlie just took you through was getting down to a fundamental feeling of where something you struggle with connected from your past. It was very interesting how he walked you through that process where you didn't even associate that one memory with something that you're still struggling with many like years later, right? And so that's why it's so important to work in a environment like this with people who have a vast amount of experience working with different people. And that's why I come back to, I don't know what I don't know. And when you bring people whose processes are as powerful as Charlie's, I'm very curious to see how what just happened tonight impacts your relationship with sweets.
I really am too, Nick, because honestly, I cherish that memory of me and my dad because I have so few,
Mhm.
but I never equated it to my insatiable desire to eat sugary treats. Like I always have to have a dessert. I always have to, even if I'm full, I'll partake of something sweet
Yeah.
to get that euphoric feel. I never associated it back. And
Filling
being,
the void, right?
yeah, filling that void that was
So we're going to
left.
associate your grandkids, the feeling of the longevity with your
Let's,
grandkids.
yeah, let's flip that around and I'll associate them with saying no, because that feeling is far more powerful.
Yeah.
Let me
The
ask you
future
this. When
feeling
did
over the past, right?
Yeah.
when did you develop diabetes?
Well, I've been back and forth with pre-diabetes for about 10 years now. And just earlier this year, I was put on medication for diabetes because no matter what I did, no matter how much weight I lost, I wasn't able to control it. And some parts of that I know are because, I still will binge here and there, actually more here than there. And
So
I'm not able to control it.
So Cindy, I'm going to share this with the people and the listeners on here. I was able to cure somebody from cancer with the energy healing that I do, but on top of it, so if you think about traumatic childhoods, right? Going through traumatic childhoods and stress, what does stress do? It makes this number one leading reason why we're in the hospital.
Mm.
Stress eating, all these different things. I guarantee you, if you decide to work with me or Nick or whatever and how we do this, I'm confident that we can get you out of diabetes. I'll
I
put that
agree.
statement on there. 100% with what Nick's teaching you and the mindset control and what you need to do, I can do it. I've done this over 6,000 times. To me, this is easy stuff. And the stuff, depression, anxiety, suicidal ideations, anxiety, it doesn't matter what it is. I've fixed it so quickly.
I
Well,
think,
it's definitely something I want to get rid of.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, and it's one thing to know what's happening, but it's a whole nother thing to know why that thing is now happening, right?
Hmm.
Because you've now identified it. Because without understanding, I always tell Braxton, I was like, there's three parts of solving any problem. Number one is you need to assess and acknowledge what the actual problem is, and that's what Charlie's an expert in. We don't recognize and realize that most of our problems stem back to our childhood. Our operating systems were created very early in our lives, and so a lot of our behaviors and habits are come back here. So how do you know how to go back this far and assess and acknowledge that this is impacting your life without a coach like Charlie to come back and say, let's walk you back to that moment? The next stage is to come up with a plan. How do you get from here to here? Well, you work with coaches that are going to be able to take the guesswork out and fill that gap. And then the third part is just execution. And so that's the three-step process for literally doing anything. And that's what you just got here. You got that first step. You got somebody reaching down and giving you a hand up to say, hey, I know what you're struggling with. I've been there. I've helped people through that before, and let me help you. And that's what we're really all about here. And so I want to open the floor for Lisa too, because I know she's here listening in, and I want to kind of hear how it was from an outside looking into the experience. What did you take from that, Lisa?
I found it just very interesting how it all goes back so far and how you can break the energy. And I love all that stuff. So I found it very interesting.
Awesome. Is that
I'm
something?
curious to see how well it works.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I know that's something that you said you've struggled with in the past, is like going with like some soda, and that's like your really go-to. You've had a hard time kicking Mountain Dew, and that's kind of what's been one of your bigger roadblocks. So it might be interesting to kind of take this process and replace sugar with Mountain Dew and maybe watch this replay and go back through it and kind of fill in your own
Mhm.
best case scenario and kind of maybe go through the process there, because it could be a very beneficial thing for you as well.
Well, here's the
Yeah,
thing,
definitely.
Lisa. If you jump on next week, Wednesday, and whoever jumps on, what we'll do is we'll bring you guys through the dislike. So we'll take what you really crave, what you really like that's not healthy for you, and still go through this process in the replay. But then what we'll do is we'll take that thing that you really, really like, and we'll find something that is just absolutely disgusting. And we're going to make that thing basically associate with that disgusting thing. So you'll want nothing to do with it.
Yeah. It's going to be great. Cindy, I want to bring it back to you real quick before we wrap things up, and being cognizant of your time. I want to get an understanding, like, how do you feel right now? Do you feel empowered? Do you feel a little nervous? Like, how are you feeling right now?
A little nervous, but excited to see how this is going to go, because this is usually about the time of night that I'll go in the pantry and start surfing for a little go to bed snack that'll turn into a big go to bed snack.
Okay. And
Nick is, and I don't know, but Nick is fruit. Can she replace that with fruit, or
she
should
can.
she not?
So there's all these different things, and we talked about it last call about like the sea of misinformation, right?
Mhm.
But one of the scientific facts behind the way you eat around bedtime, specifically in sugar,
Mhm.
is that when you are closer to going to bed, your body is more insulin resistant, meaning it cannot break down carbs as effectively, specifically sugar. So what it does is it stores it. Your body's not
Okay.
breaking it down for energy, so it's storing it, so that what you're doing is that you're lifting your blood sugar level, it's storing it as fat, because your body doesn't know what to do with that energy, because it knows it's going to go into an elongated fast. So the optimal time for sweets is actually right after a meal, because your body is digesting all of the other things, and then you can have a small snack or a sweet treat after you get done eating
Well,
your
for
meal.
Cindy's case, no sweet treat.
So Cindy, this is the big
Yeah.
the
This will be your test.
so big thing with this is your body gets insulin resistant later in night. So your body is not going to be able to break that sugar down, especially when it's a large volume of sugar. So what happens is that you also, if you eat before bed, what your body is doing is it's actually still using energy to break down that food. So the general rule of thumb is that you don't want to eat 2 hours before you go to bed. The reason behind this is because if you do eat right before you go to bed and you go to bed, you're not really fully at rest. So your body and your brain is actually not getting the good night's rest, because you're actually using energy while you're asleep, but your body's not asleep. So making sure that you don't eat 2 hours before you go to bed is going to be a game changer for you. And then getting rid of those sweets too, and replacing that old comfort feeling that you associate sweets with your father and your memory with your dad, and replacing it with that new empowering belief. Instead of focusing on the past and the comfort it brought you, focus on the future and the excitement of what that's going to bring you, the ability to be around for your grandkids for years to come, be at the wedding, I'll be there too. So just so
Oh,
we're
I
on
know you'll
the
be there,
same
Nick.
page. And so we want to make sure that those are there. So replacing that comfort for an empowering belief, where you look at the sweets and you're like, I have a purpose. My purpose is bigger than my sweet tooth. Let me go look at this exact quote. Give me 5 seconds, because you're gonna laugh about it.
Yeah, you should get some really, really good sleep tonight, releasing that stuff, because you probably feel lighter.
I do. I definitely feel lighter. I
Here's
feel a
the-
sense of relief.
See if you can skip the treat, and also
Here.
see if you can like literally dump that stuff into the garbage can tonight.
Agree. Deal.
Yeah.
And also, so big thing too, Janan put this on her vision board, and it made me laugh, because I was like, oh my God, it's so true. Fat lasts longer than flavor.
It
Yeah.
sure does.
It sure does. So to end on a note like that, where we're now recognizing we want you to leave empowered. So the nervousness, it's normal, because you're breaking a habit, and breaking habits causes a lot of nervousness, because it's how things have always been, right? You have this constant habit and the behavior of like, I go back to the sweet treats because it brings me happiness. But remember, the happiness the instant gratification of happiness there is going to take away from the long-term gratification of being around for your grandkids. Like, and I
Yeah.
know how much they mean to you. You drive cross country a bunch of times just so you can go spend time with your grandchildren. And so making that commitment to drive cross country and then coming back and making that commitment to say, nope, I can make sure that this behavior or habit I've now assessed and acknowledged where it came from, and I'm no longer a slave to that behavior, because that's unfortunately what it is. Sometimes we're a slave to these things, and until we can break the habit, that's when we can actually grow and have the life we've always wanted to have. So I'll open it up just last little bit. Any questions that you guys have for Charlie or myself, so we can kind of touch base and make sure that you guys left here feeling absolutely like we over-delivered.
From my standpoint, you definitely over-delivered.
Good to hear. I'll be excited to hear how this goes, like how you're feeling tomorrow. So put something in the group about what happened, like how this went for you. Did you throw away the treats? Like, how are you feeling next morning? Just kind of give us a synopsis in the Facebook group.
Will do.
All right. Well, thank you all very much for joining us.
Oh wait, I think Lisa, did you have a question?
Oh, she did.
No, I was just gonna say that was interesting. Thank you, and I have no questions.
Okay.
Fantastic. Well, thank you all for joining us tonight. We're going to be here Monday, Wednesday, Thursday for the next 3 weeks, 2.5 now. We're here to show you all of these skills. That's what we do here with Rise Up. We want to make sure that you have all the skills and strategies that you need in order to rise up to life and be the best examples. Come here for kids like this. So,
Oh, hey,
I hope you guys-
Braxton.
hey, say hi. But I hope you
Hey,
guys all have a
Braxton.
fantastic night.
Yep, you too,
Thanks.
brother.
Good
Thank
night.
you.
Bye.
All right.
Nice meeting
Bye,
you.
guys.